Have you ever felt the tight grip of life slipping through your fingers? Like no matter how carefully you map out your days, no matter how fiercely you cling to your plans, everything seems to dissolve into chaos? It's as if the ground beneath your feet is crumbling, and the future you envisioned is vanishing before your eyes. You ask yourself, why can't I keep control? Why does everything fall apart just when I think I have it all figured out? This feeling, the frustration, the confusion, the ache, is one of the most profound experiences we face. Because deep down, it forces us to confront a hard truth. Control is an illusion. Yes, control, the idea that we can master every circumstance, predict every outcome, and bend life to our will, is perhaps the most comforting story we tell ourselves. But like a mirage on a desert horizon, it shimmers beautifully from afar, but fades as we approach. It's fragile, elusive, and ultimately false. But why do we cling so tightly to this illusion? Because it promises safety. It promises certainty. It tells us that if we just try hard enough, plan meticulously enough, and hold on tightly enough, we will never be lost, never be broken, never be afraid. And yet life has a way of reminding us, certainty is a myth. The more we try to control, the more life pulls the rug from beneath us. We make plans, big ones, small ones, everything in between. And life laughs quietly in the background as it rearranges the puzzle pieces in ways we never expected. But what if this unraveling isn't a punishment or failure? What if it's a necessary cracking open, a breaking of the cage that has held us captive far longer than we realized? Imagine for a moment that the cages we build are made of our own fears. Fear of uncertainty, fear of judgment, fear of losing ourselves. These cages are woven tightly with threads of expectation, routine, and the desperate desire to avoid discomfort. And yet every cage eventually weakens. Every plan, no matter how perfect, eventually fractures. And in that fracture lies a profound gift, the chance to see the world and ourselves differently. When control slips away, we stand at the edge of something both terrifying and beautiful. It's the edge of surrender, the edge of freedom. Because surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the grip on what we think life should be. It means opening our hands to receive what life is. It means trusting a deeper intelligence that guides us beyond the narrow confines of our plans and fears. Have you ever noticed how the most beautiful moments in life often arrive unplanned? A chance encounter, a sudden insight, a door that opens when you least expect it. These moments are not accidents. They are the universe's way of showing us that life's true flow cannot be dictated or controlled. It must be embraced. This is the paradox of control. The tighter we hold on, the more we suffer. The more we surrender, the more we are free. And freedom is not chaos. Freedom is not loss. Freedom is the deep knowing that no matter how unpredictable life becomes, you are safe because you are not your circumstances. You are the awareness behind them. But this shift in perspective requires courage. It requires us to lean into the discomfort of uncertainty and ask ourselves, what if I don't have to have all the answers? What if my value is not defined by how perfectly I can control my life? What if true power comes from letting go? This letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It is the moment when you stop fighting the current and begin to swim with it. It is when you stop resisting change and instead become an active participant in the dance of life. The illusion of control is seductive because it makes us feel powerful. But real power, real transformation, comes from surrender, from the deep, quiet trust that no matter how life unfolds, you will rise. You will adapt. You will become more than you ever imagined. In this space of surrender, the soul begins to awaken. It whispers to us in silence, in dreams, in moments of stillness. You are not your fears. You are not your failures. You are a being of infinite possibility. And with that awakening comes peace. Not the kind of peace that depends on external circumstances, but a peace that burns steady inside like a flame that cannot be extinguished by storms. So if you feel like everything is falling apart, remember, the cage of control is breaking. And on the other side lies your freedom. The question is not, why is this happening to me? But what is this teaching me? What is this breaking down so that something greater can be born? Control was never yours to begin with. It was a story, a script written long ago by fears you no longer need to carry. Now is the time to rewrite that story, to lean into the unknown with open arms, to trust that the unraveling is the universe's invitation for you to step into a deeper truth. And here's the beautiful secret. When you stop trying to control the waves, you learn to ride them. You discover that the ocean of life is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. So breathe deeply. Let go gently. You are exactly where you need to be, even if nothing is going according to plan. Because the end of control is the beginning of your freedom. Have you ever found yourself standing at a crossroads, staring down a path you never meant to take? The one that wasn't on your map? The detour you never planned for? The twist that seemed like a mistake? It's easy in those moments to feel lost, confused, or even betrayed by life. To wonder, why am I here? How did I end up on this road? But what if the unplanned path is not a detour? What if it's the only path worth walking? For centuries, mystics, philosophers, and seekers have whispered a profound truth. The most sacred lessons are found not in the routes we carefully choose, but in the ones we never expected to travel. The unplanned path is a paradox. It looks like chaos from the outside, but from within, it pulses with a hidden wisdom, a wisdom older than time. This path invites us to release our rigid ideas about success, control, and certainty. It invites us to open our minds and hearts to the mystery of life as it truly unfolds. Think about it. The moment you try to force life into a neat box, it resists. Like water, life flows where it wills, around, beneath, and through all obstacles. The unplanned path is the flow itself, urging you to surrender the illusion of control and step into a deeper trust. This is not easy. It requires courage. It requires vulnerability. It asks you to let go of the familiar comfort of knowing and to embrace the unknown with open arms. But here lies the secret. The unplanned path is the soul's way of awakening. It strips away the false layers we have built around ourselves, the expectations, the conditioned beliefs, the stories we tell to feel safe, and reveals our raw, authentic essence. When you walk this path, you begin to see life as a teacher rather than an adversary. Every unexpected twist becomes a lesson, every obstacle a doorway. Have you noticed how the greatest moments of growth often come disguised as setbacks? How every failure, every heartbreak, every wrong turn contains a seed of transformation? The unplanned path teaches us that life is not about getting it right. It's about becoming real. It's about becoming aligned with your true self rather than with an image or expectation imposed from outside. In this space, a deep alchemy occurs. You learn to trust your inner guidance, the quiet voice that knows your way even when the road is dark. You learn to read the signs, the synchronicities, the subtle nudges that point you forward. And more than that, you learn to honor the journey itself, the messy, beautiful, unpredictable dance of existence. Ask yourself, what if the mistakes I've made are the very things that have brought me here? What if every detour has been a necessary part of my awakening? What if the unplanned path is the path of my soul's highest growth? This is the wisdom of the unplanned path, that life is always guiding you, even when you feel lost. It's inviting you to lean into uncertainty, to trust the invisible currents beneath the surface. Because beneath the chaos lies a cosmic order, an intelligence so vast and mysterious that it unfolds in ways beyond human comprehension. When you surrender to this intelligence, you begin to move from resistance to flow. You begin to embody grace amid the storms. You begin to realize that every step, no matter how uncertain, is exactly where you need to be. This path asks us to become students of humility and patience, to recognize that growth does not happen on our schedule, but on life's, to understand that timing is divine timing, and that sometimes the greatest gift we can give ourselves is permission to rest, to wait, to simply be. Because in that waiting, the seeds of transformation take root. And from those seeds, a new you begins to emerge, one unshackled from the need to control and fully alive in the moment. Here's a question to hold in your heart. What wisdom is waiting for me in this unplanned chapter of my life? What treasures are hidden in this unexpected journey? When you open yourself to this inquiry, life begins to answer in mysterious, beautiful ways. You might notice new opportunities appearing where none existed before. You might find peace in places you never thought possible. You might reconnect with parts of yourself long forgotten. The unplanned path is not a punishment. It is a sacred invitation, a call to deeper presence, deeper trust, and deeper love. It asks us to become alchemists of our own experience, to transform pain into power, confusion into clarity, and chaos into harmony. And remember, you are not walking this path alone. The universe walks with you. The unseen guides, angels, and ancestors support you. Your soul remembers every step it has taken. And even when you cannot see the way forward, you are held by a greater wisdom that never abandons you. So the next time you feel disoriented by life's unexpected turns, pause and breathe. Remember that the unplanned path holds a wisdom beyond your current understanding. Lean into it, trust it, and watch as your life unfolds into a story more magnificent than any plan you could have dreamed up. Because sometimes the greatest victories come not from following the plan, but from walking bravely into the unknown. There comes a moment after the illusion of control has dissolved, after the unplanned path has stripped away everything you thought you needed, where something unexpected begins to rise. Not a return to the old self, not a reassembly of what was broken, but a becoming. Not of someone else, but of who you truly are. You see, victory isn't something outside of you waiting to be won. It's not a destination, a trophy, or a perfect ending. Victory is something you become, not by conquering the world, but by finally reclaiming yourself, by standing fully present in the wreckage of what was and choosing to rise, not in spite of it, but because of it. You become the victory when you realize that your breakdown was a breakthrough in disguise. You become the victory when you no longer resist the pain, but allow it to open you. When you understand that every detour, every delay, every disappointment was not a failure, but an invitation to return home to your essence. Let that sink in. What if your soul never came here to follow a flawless plan, but to experience a sacred transformation through contrast, uncertainty, and surrender? What if all the falling apart was actually a falling together? This is what it means to become the victory, not to avoid the fire, but to let the fire forge you, to walk through darkness and come out not untouched, but illuminated, to stop chasing a version of life that's polished and perfect, and instead embody the real, raw, radiant truth of who you are. Victory is not perfection, it's alignment. It's when your outer life begins to reflect your inner truth. It's when your values no longer have to fight for space, because you are no longer living from fear or performance. It's when your life becomes an expression of soul, not a reaction to pressure. But make no mistake, becoming the victory is not passive. It requires deep inner work. It asks you to face your shadows, to hold your wounds with compassion, and to choose growth even when it hurts. It means forgiving yourself for what you didn't know, for what you settled for the times you abandoned yourself to please the world. Because here's the sacred truth. The victory is not found in what you achieve, but in what you remember. You remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You remember the quiet voice within that kept whispering, even when you didn't listen. You remember the strength you didn't know you had until life required it. And in that remembering, you rise. You begin to live, not from fear, but from frequency, from resonance, from presence. You begin to create, not to impress, but to express, to heal, to serve, to embody something higher. And you begin to understand you are not here to chase the light. You are here to become it. Because every time you choose truth over illusion, love over fear, alignment over approval, you become a living transmission of victory. Not the kind that looks glamorous from the outside, but the kind that shifts energy, that softens hearts, that ignites souls. The kind that says, yes, I walked through the fire, and I did not come out the same. I came out awake. You become the victory when you stop needing the world to validate your worth and instead walk in the quiet, knowing that your existence is already sacred. When your presence becomes a prayer, when your choices become medicine, not just for you, but for everyone who feels your energy. This kind of victory cannot be stolen, sold, or shattered, because it's rooted in essence, not ego. It's not about being the best in the room. It's about being the most you've ever been. So ask yourself, what am I still trying to prove, and to whom? What would it feel like to live from truth, even if no one clapped for it? What version of me am I ready to become, now that everything false has fallen away? Because this is your moment. You're not at the end of your story. You're at the threshold of your rebirth. You've passed through the crumbling of control. You've walked the winding path of the unknown. And now, you are being asked to step into embodiment, to integrate everything you've seen, everything you've felt, everything you've survived, and allow it to shape the new frequency of your life. You are becoming the victory when you stop surviving your story and start alchemizing it. When you begin to speak from scarred lips and shining eyes and say, "This is who I am now, and I love who I'm becoming." There is no higher success than peace in your soul. There is no greater wealth than clarity in your spirit. There is no deeper power than being rooted in truth while the world sways around you. So let the world think you've lost your way. Let the plan fall apart. Let the path be wild, and let your soul take the lead. Because when you do, something ancient and eternal awakens in you. A knowing that you were never meant to just survive life. You came here to transform it, to live it wide open, to live it real, to become the living embodiment of the victory you once sought outside yourself. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You are being rerouted to something higher. You are not stuck. You are being asked to rise. This is not the end. This is the becoming, and you are the victory. If these words resonate, I invite you to share your thoughts below. How has surrendering control opened doors you never imagined? Subscribe and join this journey of awakening and transformation. Together, we'll step bravely into the unknown and become the victories we were always meant to be.